Good afternoon. I am Stacy-Ann and today I will be taking you on an exciting journey on the contributions of the Rastafarian to Caribbean culture. What exactly are the contributions of Rastafarian to Caribbean culture? The objectives of this study are to ascertain the Rastafarian contributions to Caribbean culture and to determine the implications of these contributions to the Caribbean. In an attempt to answer our question on the contribution of the Rastafarian community to Caribbean culture, I used interview schedule, questionnaire, and observation. It was revealed to me that the Rastafarians have contributed tremendously to Caribbean culture in the form of music, hairstyle, dress code, language, beliefs, and food preparations. This has several implications. For instance, the Rastafarian contribution can be capitalized on so that they can be used as positive role models for our youth to emulate. Our youth can be encouraged to meditate and think critically before making very important decisions. In addition, our youth, Rastafarians can be placed into positions of authority and power, where they'll be able to make the effect changes, especially as it relates to the reduction in crime and violence, which the Caribbean community is plagued by right now. The Rastafarians, they have been around for a very, very long time, as far back as colonization and slavery, but they became deeply entrenched in our society in the 1930s when Marcus Garvey prophesied that, "Look to Africa, where a black king shall be crowned, and he will be the redeemer of the black people." The Rastafarian lifestyle was further cemented when Emperor Haile Selassie was crowned king. This is viewed as a fulfillment of Garvey's prophecy. Haile Selassie is seen as a salvation, and it's believed that he will redeem blacks from white suppressors, reuniting them with their homeland, which is Africa. So as a result, men like Howell preached the divinity of Haile Selassie. He explained that all blacks would gain the superiority over whites, which is how it's supposed to be in any case. There are three sects of Rastafarians. There are the Bobo Shanti, the Nyabingi, and the 12 tribes. Even though these three sects are a little different, for the most part they are very similar. They believe in similar teachings and they believe in similar eating habits. Rastafarians men like Leonard Howell, Alexander Bedward, and many others have contributed tremendously to the establishment of the Rastafarian community, as well as they have fought vigorously for justice for these set of persons. Rastas have struggled a lot, as you can see from the slide here. Rastas have struggled a lot. In fact, it was "Bring in all Rastas, dead or alive." These were the words echoed by a former Prime Minister of Jamaica, Alexander Bustamante, in the 1960s. Rastafarians suffered great persecution and prosecution at the fatal hands of the Babylon system, as they would say. They were savagely killed, tortured, emotionally maimed, and even spiritually raped. They were hunted down like dogs on the streets of Jamaica, St. Lucia, and many other Caribbean countries. Their heads were bald whenever they were caught by the police force. Force was used to make them give up their lifestyle and their beliefs. But the Rastafarians have been fighting, and the fight continues. Only recently, the famous Mutabaruka Sheriff of Jamaica shared that he was pulled over by the police force. He was accused of smoking marijuana in his vehicle. When a man like Mutabaruka, he does not even smoke marijuana. So, the injustice meted out against Rastafarians still continues. In fact, it was not until in the 1990s that Rastafarians were allowed to enter mainstream schools, like public schools, to be a part of the public school system, and were allowed to be a part of certain careers, and such as the police force, teaching, the fire brigade, and so forth. Rastafarianism in the Caribbean is characterized by the colors red, green, and gold. Because of these colors, red symbolizes the struggle of black people, the bloodshed. Gold represents the wealth of their African homeland, and green symbolizes Ethiopia's beauty and lush vegetation. Rastafarians believe in consuming only natural foods. They believe in vegetarianism, sporting dreadlocks, and a belief in peace and community-based economic activities. Therefore, they believe in self-reliance and self-sufficiency. So Rastafarians are mostly farmers. They cultivate their own food, and they prepare it in their own special ways. As was mentioned earlier, several methods were employed in doing this assignment, which are inclusive of questionnaires, interview observation, and online research. The percentage of individuals that have had interaction with Rastafarians are, in the survey revealed that 100% of the persons who were interviewed or answered questionnaires have had some amount of interaction with Rastafarians. This simply means that this group has some amount of authority, or at least they know exactly what they're talking about when they give information on Rastafarians. Persons' reaction when asked if they see Rastafarians as good role models. A significant 93% of the persons actually see Rastafarians as good role models. As a result, I came to the conclusion that since these persons are seen in such a positive light by various persons in our community, it simply means that they should be placed into positions of authority where they can make a difference, especially in the lives of our youth. Respondents respond when suggested that Rastafarians should be placed in more influential positions in society in order to effect positive change. More than 80% of the respondents agree that Rastafarians should be placed in positions of influence in our societies across the Caribbean in order to effect change. This is very significant because it tells us that the people of Jamaica and the people of the Caribbean look up to Rastafarians, and they strongly believe that with Rastafarians in power, with Rastafarians in managerial positions, the Caribbean will be a better place. An indication of how Rastafarian culture use jargon or language in their conversation that are reflective of the Rasta. For example, I and I, overcome, overstand, and so forth. They are more than 100% actually listen to reggae music. And as we know, reggae music is a contribution of Rastafarianism. More than 71% of the persons adopted their hairstyle. A lot of persons have been investing in dreadlocks, whether it be the fake one or the real one. But persons are wearing that hairstyle most often now. More than 59% adopted their dress code, while Rastafarian dishes have been adopted by at least 23% of the persons in the country. This is very significant because all of these areas covered are actually areas of culture that are contributed by the Rastafarians. These are showing the number of individuals who know Rastafarians that are recognized as reggae artists and have performed in the Caribbean. A whopping 92% of the persons, actually no persons, who have performed across the Caribbean and who are actually Rastafarian. Well, only a small percentage do not know these individuals. Rastafarian music, the reggae beat. Rastafarianism, music, and reggae are synonymous. When we hear Rastafarianism, we think about Bob Marley, we think about Peter Tosh, we think about Luciano, we think about all of these individuals who have Rastas, who have made an indelible mark on Rastafarianism and the culture of the Caribbean. Rastafarians are responsible for the development of reggae music, audible and visible to an international audience. The work of Bob Marley is known throughout the international. Reggae music has since spread to several Caribbean countries. In Trinidad, there are Marlon Asher, Harry Still, King I and Queen Omega, Natural Blacks of Guyana, Boggy Nishakenti, as well as Daniel and Captain of Barbados. The dreadlocks. This is the look that many persons envy, and this is the look that most persons are now wearing. A significant shift has occurred as it relates to Rastafarianism. Once upon a time in the 1960s, persons tried to trim Rastafarians. They saw the dreadlocks as being dirty and as being a discriminatory look. But now, persons have come to embrace Rastafarian look. To the point where now, persons are wearing sister locks. They are buying it. You cannot do it naturally. Persons are actually buying the look. Women have been investing a lot of money in sister locks, both to put it in and to take it out. The research revealed that over 100% of the persons who responded to the questionnaire have been exposed to Rastafarianism, and 97% of them related that they shared good experiences with them. They agree that these persons are peaceful, self-sufficient, firm believers in black consciousness and black pride. It leads us to wonder if the rumors that were often propagated about Rastafarians are true. Rastafarians are not criminals. Rastafarians are peaceful persons, as can be seen from the data collected. It is true that many persons now label themselves Rastafarians, even though some of them may not be considered authentic Rastafarians. And some of them have even contributed to the negative connotations that are often given to Rastafarians. Whether or not these Rastafarians are authentic or ingenuine, the fact is that Rastafarianism has been reflected in the culture of the Caribbean. the love of reggae, and food preparation of our people. In St. Lucia, there's a Martha family that lives in the hills. They have over 13 persons in their family, and they have gone in the hills where they have been living, and they have not even sent their children to public schools. And the St. Lucian authorities went to investigate the situation, and it was revealed to them that these children are healthy. The entire family is healthy. And the entire family every member of the family are intelligent, which comes as a shock to some of the authorities. So Rastafarian contributed significantly to an awareness of black identity and black consciousness on a global scale. Followers of Rastafarian movement see it not just as a religion, but as a way of life and philosophy that accepts Haile Selassie, the former and last emperor of Ethiopia, as God incarnate. Rastafarians will put forward to black people a strongly positive image of themselves. As a result, if Rastafarianism is incorporated in the in the curriculum in schools, then it's very likely that our young people will desist from bleaching. They will be more likely to embrace their confidence as well as their complexion. Love of self is very important to Rastafarians. As a result, this black consciousness is further fertilized by icons such as Musa Baruka and Oko Okunura, formerly Orlando One. Musa Baruka uses this program, the cutting edge and stepping razor, to allow persons to see their importance, to allow Jamaicans and other persons to think that these programs are programs that are listened worldwide for persons to accept who they are and realize that they can be kings because they once were kings in Africa, that they can achieve whatever they set out to. So this is one way in which Rastafarians have been contributing to Caribbean culture and have been motivating people, especially young ones, to be confident and make changes in their lives so they can be prosperous. Marijuana, when we talk about Rastafarianism, we think about marijuana. Marijuana is used both in religious preparations, tributes and so forth as well. Marijuana is like the opium of the Rastafarian community. They rely on it for both religious purposes and otherwise. And we have seen where many of our young people are smoking marijuana. Even though we may not be in agreement with them smoking marijuana, but we have seen where they have been smoking with the excuse that they are smoking to meditate. Rastafarians, who better to encourage them to not smoke marijuana than Rastafarians until they are physically and mentally capable of doing so, in moderation, of course. The language of the Rastafarians. When I think of the language of the Rastafarians, I must smile, because instead of saying words like under, Rastafarians say over. I overstand, words like Rasta talk. They use jargon that are like overstand. They use words like They use words that they believe will uplift them as a set of people instead of making them seem inferior. For example, clothing. These are some of the examples of what Rastafarian clothing that you get many persons wear. Even persons who are considered diplomats often wear these sorts of clothing. In Jamaica, there are many festivals and celebrations where persons are often seen in these clothing, like Silly Sing in Portland in February, Poetry Festival, and so many more. Similar celebrations are held in countries like Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, and other places, other Caribbean countries. The food. Rastafarian considered a Babylon included in their meals. Rastafarianism has played and continues to play a pivotal role in the forging of black identity in the region and beyond. Rastafarianism is seen by many as a way to resist suppression and oppression, and thus many people continue to follow the doctrine, both black and white. They have contributed to the forging of black identity, not only through their doctrines, but also through their language and music. They could be asked to volunteer as big sisters and big brothers, as I said earlier, and contribute to our society in a positive way. They can work with children in social intervention programs where change is almost inevitable. With Rastafarians at the helm, we are sure to reach some amount of success. Implication. The research reveals that it is the belief of individuals that violence and crime will decrease if Rastafarians play a more critical role in the management of the country. And by placing Rastafarianism in charge, it is very likely that the Caribbean will improve. Things will improve in the Caribbean as well, such as violence and crime will be reduced. Persons will love themselves, be confident in themselves, and be more likely to start their own industries and their own programs. Entrepreneurship will improve, and children will be less likely to engage in suicidal attempts, crime and violence, as well as delinquent activities. I thank you.